Hello and a very warm welcome to all the viewers of CryptoTV. This is Manoj Dara. So today we have invited a special guest from the technology space who will help us understand what is an enterprise blockchain and how is it different from other types of blockchain. We will also discuss with him about the digital identity, CBDCs, NFTs and Hyperledger. Let me introduce you to Mr. Kamlesh Nagware, Chief Technology Officer at Snapper Future Technology. Kamlesh, welcome on CryptoTV.
Yeah, thank you, Manoj. Inviting me. It's nice to be here.
So, Kamlesh, since we're talking about the enterprise blockchain and the way forward from here on, can you just begin with help this concept? If you can just clear this concept for our viewers, that what is an enterprise blockchain, and how much influence does this have and will have on the current ERP application system? And if you can just simplify this entire process for our viewers.
Yeah, sure. So. Generally, when this Bitcoin and Ethereum introduced in 2009, there's always blockchain can do the beyond the cryptocurrencies, and there are lots of use cases identified from the digital identity, supply chain, banking, financial services, and insurance. So using the DLT and blockchain to address this enterprise business problems is a enterprise blockchain. And there are a number of blockchain frameworks starting from Hyperledger, R3 Coda, Quorum, and there are many such who are using the permission kind of blockchain, private blockchain, to address the business problems in the enterprise world. And when we relate with this with the enterprise ERP, so generally if we relate with the enterprise ERP is going to solve the one company's, one institution's department-wise problem. But blockchain is going to solve the problem of the inter-companies, and kind of you can apply blockchain to solve the problem of the different business networks together. So there is always a misconception, like when blockchain need to be introduced in the enterprise world, is going to replace the ERP, is going to replace the SAP. But technically, this is not going to replace the ERPs. You could apply the blockchain to along with the ERP and solve the specific problem which not able to solve by the ERPs.
But Kamlesh, since you are talking about its relevance and importance, when will it replace ERPs, इसका enterprise blockchain का relevance as of now अपने crypto ecosystem में कितना है? If you can just simplify this for our viewers.
So there are a number of use cases starting from supply chain. Like if we know the IBM Food Trust with the IBM blockchain platform, and there's a TradeLens platform from the Musk and IBM. And similarly, there are a number of government use cases from the British Columbia, from digital identity space. There is a number of TradeLens, trade finance platform of the various financial services bank and companies. And even India, like maybe you know about the NPCI is working on the similar kind of a space.
All right, even, okay, perfect. So since we are talking about what is an enterprise blockchain and its relevance as far as the crypto ecosystem is concerned, my second question to you is, what will be the cost impact of the implication of the enterprise blockchain? And since you have already mentioned that the ERP or any current legal application, the cost structure is high, and there are talks that it will replace ERP or it will not. So what is the confusion? Will you like to clear this thing for our viewers?
So I think main confusion about applying the enterprise blockchain in an enterprise use case about the ROI. So if there is no defined ROI, whether it is a direct or indirect ROI, if you're applying a blockchain and relate the cost, then there is definitely it's become a costly technology. Sure. Because it's a network effect and ecosystem players. So when we have a right ROI model, whether it's a direct or indirect, whether it's kind of solving some specific business problem via reducing a cost and efficiency, then is a benefit. Or maybe it's introducing a new business model which kind of maybe generating a new businesses. That way we can define the cost of implementation, but it's technically is higher than the normal technology implementation.
See, anywhere अगर हम cost के बारे में बात करते हैं तो वहाँ पर we have to also understand that what kind of speed they can bring in. Say for example, if we talk about the speed of a transaction in any enterprise, the availability of data or for that matter information is very important. How will that be managed with the enterprise blockchain first? And considering the current speed of the blockchain system, which is not that great, Kamlesh, तो ये enterprise blockchain क्या different करेगा कि ये जो existing framework को change करेंगे वो?
Okay, so generally हम यदि परफॉर्मेंस और स्केलेबिलिटी की बात करें तो generally होता क्या है कि like when we see the public blockchain, they are maybe working on a proof of work or proof of stake. So it takes lots of time to process a block and mine the block. And enterprise blockchain or private blockchain going to use a different kind of consensus mechanism like Raft or like a kind of a permission blockchain. That means you can define the your node who is going to verify your blocks, and that way you can scale and you can perform the your blockchain transaction faster. Take an example like if you are using the Hyperledger fabric, you can process maybe 20,000 transactions per second, which is higher than the which we can process in Ethereum and Bitcoin, maybe 8 or maybe 100. Because in the enterprise world, you can define your network stakeholders, and that way, like for example, in the supply chain, there is a 10 stakeholder. So only 10 participants going to verify your block and transaction. But in Ethereum, there are maybe hundreds and thousand nodes.
श्योर जैसे आपने हाइपर लेजर के बारे में बताया और हम आगे हाइपर लेजर के बारे में बात करेंगे, बट सिंस वी आर टॉकिंग अबाउट एंटरप्राइज ब्लॉकचेन, मेरा एक फॉलोअप क्वेश्चन उसके ऊपर ये है कि हमने बात कही यहाँ पर कॉस्ट की, हमने बात की स्पीड की, बट एक और इम्पैक्ट है जो ब्लॉकचेन्स को लेकर एक बहुत बड़ा कंसर्न है, दैट इज द क्लाइमेट इम्पैक्ट. And so there are a lot of concerns that are raised about sustainability of the climate impact of the public blockchain. So my question to you is how enterprise blockchain is solving the problem and helping to achieve the climate goal. Say for example, Ethereum पर जो proof of work to proof of stake को लेकर जो एक migration जो हो रहा है, जो merger जो हो रहा है, ये तो साफ है कि कमलेश की लगभग 99% जो climate को जो harm करने वाली चीज़ें हैं वो तो avoid हो जाएंगी. But how will this enterprise blockchain will have a positive impact on this on the climate going forward?
Okay, so in this there are two things. One is about your network and how much energy is consumed. Another is using blockchain to address the climate related problems. So take example first about the network thing. So like Ethereum and Bitcoin may be using the lots of energy to mine a block,
right?
And it is impacting the environment. But in an enterprise blockchain, you have predefined network and predefined stakeholders. That means only the relevant parties are participating in the transaction. That's why they're using the less energy. Even there are some private blockchain network like Hyperledger Indy. They are only writing the relevant transaction on the ledger, and it reducing the lots of your transaction processing time and even transaction mining. That's one thing. Another thing, how you can use blockchain to address the climate and carbon accounting and carbon related use cases. Like for example, how you can use the blockchain to record a carbon accounting and carbon related data, and then how you can create the tokens out of it. So this is another use cases. So one is about the network thing, how much your network is efficient in terms of energy utilization. Another is how you using the tech to build a solution to address the climate related solutions.
Sure. Since we are talking about blockchain ecosystem and its way forward, but there is one more concern, that is there about the digital identity, Kamlesh. So my next question to you is, what is the SSI based digital identity and its significance as far as the India ecosystem, or for that matter digital ecosystem is concerned?
Okay, so a digital identity, when we relate with the Web 2 and Web 3, generally in Web 2 you're going to use some kind of authentication service like Google or Facebook to authenticate yourself in the internet. But using the Web 3, you could use password authentication. So technically, like when using the Google and Facebook and third party authentication, they use your private data and to monetize on that data. And that's why this big giants is so much big in terms of their business markets. But in the Web 3 and the SSI is generally self-sovereign identity. That means you own your private data, you own your identity. That means you have your rights to share specific information as per the requirement. For example, suppose if you want to prove yourself like you are above 18 to maybe buy liquor. So you need to share your identity card, your actual age, your location, your PIN code to prove that thing. You just use the zero knowledge proof technology like SSI to prove yourself you are more than 18 and you have a right to buy this particular thing. And in India perspective, so India is a 1 billion population, and we already have a Aadhaar kind of system where we use our information to authenticate ourselves in the internet, in the digital ecosystem. But still in the Aadhaar thing, we share everything to our authentication provider about what we are, from address, from the blood group, and everything about even the biometric data. So even in my knowledge, I think Aadhaar is also working with Aadhaar 2.0 to implementing this SSI and zero knowledge proof, where you could, if you just want to prove your address location with the PIN code, you will only do that thing. Nothing to share your specific address and
All right.
specific other biometric data.
All right, since we are talking about digital identity, we are moving to a different topic. We are talking about central bank digital currency. So what is the core purpose of CBDC, Kamlesh? According to you, since the beginning of this year, we have seen a very big announcement from the finance minister, and then it was followed up by the RBI governor as well. So how will it be helpful in India developing, in India as far as the developing economy is concerned? If you can just highlight that.
So I think CBDC is a trending buzzword nowadays, and there's more than 100 countries already piloting and doing something in blockchain. In more than 15 countries already in the production stage. So it's a simply central bank digital currency which backed by the central banks. It's a simply kind of cryptocurrency, but backed by the central bank. And I think India context, I think retail CBDC is not going to be helpful that much, but I think implementing a wholesale CBDC where it will reduce the cost of the implementing a monetization policies, where you are reducing the cost of the government to printing a node and distribution across the banks. But because India already have a stronger and stable UPI payment and MPS and kind of payment system, so I think implementing a retail CBDC is not that helpful because we already have a bigger digital landscape. But implementing a wholesale CBDC is going to be helpful in terms of cost reduction and settlement of the CBDC transaction faster.
Sure, we will see that. Only time will tell that, who comes first, either retail or wholesale. But the focus primarily is more on the wholesale side. So moving on the NFT segment, my question to you, Kamlesh, is the market exuberance that powered the NFT boom has given way more clinical conditions, forcing largely speculative NFT market to confront reality. What is, in your view, the current market situations on NFT? If you can just highlight that, because we have seen a broader volumes on NFT fall. And there is one more shift that has actually happened. Recently, NFT volumes on Solana has surpassed that of Ethereum. ये क्या हो रहा है? बहुत कुछ changes हो रहा है NFT space में to begin with.
So actually, NFT is simply a digital representation of your actual asset, and it started with the arts. So like the people with the art is sold in maybe $69 million on the marketplace. But I think in the last year, I think lots of issue happened in terms of like there are lots of reports saying like there are 90% NFTs are fake because they are just using some kind of images and JPGs. And I think your concern about like Solana is having a larger NFT marketplace compared to the Ethereum. But the one issue with about the late response to the Ethereum 2.0 and proof of stake, and lots of cost on the Ethereum, because I think I've seen there are some maybe $10 to $20 transaction fees per transaction. This is huge, and Solana is a very fast and because it's a different kind of algorithm, proof of stake, and they have a very faster transaction compared to Ethereum and very less cost. And even I think nowadays Polygon is also trending in terms of the NFT marketplace. Even we are working with the Polygon to implementing the NFT marketplace. But Ethereum is costly in terms of transaction and scalability. That's why people are moving to the Solana or some another layer 2 solution. But I think another momentum happening in the NFTs are the enterprise NFTs. So people are moving beyond this arts and normal images, JPGs, and this thing. So now people are understanding the use of NFTs as a traceability and provenance of the particular actual assets. So like for example, using a NFT to track a particular luxury watch, or maybe tracking a particular asset. So even we are working with a few of the distilleries companies to implementing a NFTs for a wine or whiskey.
Sure, yeah. So since we are talking about NFTs and you have already given a broader perspective as far as the NFT and enterprise domain is concerned, my next question to you is, which are different enterprise blockchain frameworks, Kamlesh, we'll come back to this question again, and how business select the right framework for solving a business problem as far as the entire business equation is concerned. हर एक business को एक concern होता है, तो ये एंटरप्राइज ब्लॉकचेन कैसा हेल्प करेगा B2B का प्रॉब्लम सॉल्व करने के लिए? आई बिलीव दैट दिस इज ओनली फॉर द B2B सेगमेंट.
Yeah, I think not just on the B2B, but I think there are a number of use cases also people are addressing using in the B2C segment where when businesses implement a enterprise blockchain solution and open the public APIs and public interface to use by the number consumer. But there are number of frameworks available from Hyperledger to R3 Coda, even the Ethereum Enterprise Alliance is started by 2016 by the Ethereum community and the consensus quorum, the consensus hyperledger base, so a number of these enterprise frameworks available. So it's a very confusion and very hard to select which particular framework is right for my business solution.
Perfect.
So generally it's depend by use case to use case. For example, if you are working on some kind of DLT and some kind of financial services project, then R3 Coda is the right fit because it provides the peer-to-peer private transaction, which is not available in other blockchains, and is very highly scalable and it comes with some licensing model. That means they provide some kind of support also. But if you're building some kind of identity management system, digital identity, SSI, then Hyperledger India is the right choice. If you're building some kind of tokenization based project in enterprise world, then Hyperledger Besu, which is a consensus forum also, could be used. And then is a highly modular architecture of the Hyperledger Fabric, which is generally mostly used framework in the enterprise world. Because it is a generic framework, this could be used by any kind of use cases, nothing is specific to the identity or supply chain, but in general framework, you can model as per your use case.
Sure. Kamlesh, you are an Hyperledger expert. My last question to you will be, so since you have already mentioned about the Hyperledger Fabric, so there are many frameworks which are not as widely used as the Hyperledger Fabric. So when do you think other frameworks could arrive in the mainstream or widely used? Since there are many applications, there are roughly around 5, out of which Hyperledger Fabric is the only one which has been used. So what's your view on that?
So I think this is a right question because even I asked, because I'm part of the Hyperledger TSC committee. So even I'm asking this question from couple of times to the Hyperledger border team. Like,
जवाब क्या आया वहाँ से?
हाँ, so I'm just saying that जवाब क्या आया कि there is no proper marketing नहीं है in the community कि कौन सा framework कितना use होता है, कितना use नहीं होता है. So but actually there are number of frameworks already used. Like suppose if you talk about the Hyperledger Besu. So Besu people are using, but in different terms, like is a Ethereum enterprise, is a consensus quorum, is a quorum project. So it's being used by different companies. And then, but there are some projects like Sawtooth, which is hardly used that much, but there are a number of 2-3 use cases. But actually, that depends mostly on the adoption and who the team is backing up. But I believe like Hyperledger Fabric from the IBM team, and IBM is a backbone of the Hyperledger Foundation. So is mostly used, and that's why 70 to 80% all the use cases used by the Hyperledger Fabric. But another Hyperledger India, which is mostly used in the identity management use cases where the SSI zero knowledge proof platform built on. Another like Iroha is used in the CBDC project by the Bank of Cambodia. But you are right, not that much. Mostly used like I believe like top 3 projects from Hyperledger. One is Fabric, India, and Besu. Other projects, as per their community, they are using it.
All right. So Kamlesh, what will be the technology you are eyeing that will disrupt the entire crypto ecosystem according to you? One last take.
So I believe this Metaverse is going to be huge. So because if you see the Gartner report, I think by 2025, 25% people will going to spend more than 1 hour in a Metaverse. And Metaverse is just not the AR, VR, it also comes with your digital identity, your crypto payment, digital payments, and new experiences of your digital ecosystem. So Metaverse is going to be huge along with this enterprise ecosystem of Metaverse.
All right, that's it. Thank you so much, Kamlesh. You spoke really well about the enterprise blockchain. You spoke really well about the Hyperledger, and you gave a fantastic perspective about the Hyperledger Fabric and the other applications as well. You gave a very fantastic view on CBDCs, NFTs, and the technology way forward. Thank you so much for being part of the interaction and being a part of this Crypto TV. Thank you so much, Kamlesh. It was a pleasure having you. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Manoj.
That's all there is in today's interaction with Kamlesh Nagware. He is actually a technology expert, and he had given a broader perspective as far as the way forward in technology and the next disruption is going to be. Thank you so much, viewers, for staying and watching this special interaction on Crypto TV. This is Manoj Dara signing off. Thank you.